This time on Low Boost, Santa gets me a new track car. And by Santa, I mean me. Alright guys, I want to be honest with you. Upcoming for 2020, I really want to do more track days, and I really would like to be a better driver because I could do all the mods in the world to a car, but there's no more better mod than a driver mod. And I love my M235. I love it. It's probably the best BMW I've ever owned. However, I'm not rich, and I have a loan on this car, and being able to track a car with a loan on it requires me to get track insurance every time I go, and it is obviously I'm paying money every month for the car. So realistically, I want to get a car that I can own outright and something cheap that's a pretty good track toy. And I recently made a video going over the top 10 track cars you can buy for less than $10,000. And by the time I got done with the video, I already knew what I wanted. And hopefully you guys could tell me what you ended up getting or what you think was a good car for you to get for the track, because I'm going to tell you what I got. And although I love the M235, I am going to end up getting rid of it. It's going to allow me to get do a lot more stuff to other cars and other projects, and maybe even other additional cars in the future. So if you guys think that I'm going to stop doing N55 and F-Series content, you're wrong. I still have a lot of stuff I want to go over with the M235, and I think in the future I'm still going to get another newer BMW, but when my wife's 330 lease is up, I think we're going to end up getting more than likely an M240i. So that'll have the B58 motor, and I'll be able to share with you guys all my experiences with that as well. However, my new car is a C5 Corvette. Yeah, that's right, number 2 on my top 10 list. I was able to pick this thing up for $9,000. It is a 2003, so it has heads-up display. It's got different suspension. The 2003s, I think, had the LS6 intake, if I'm not mistaken. The 2003 Corvette, this is 350 horsepower, 375 pound-feet of torque. A couple of things it already has. It already has an intake on it, and it already has exhaust, as well as a short shifter. And I'm really going to kind of do some research and see what it really has, because I would like to either keep that or upgrade to a better short shifter, one that's going to more suit my needs. But I'm going to share with you guys all my experiences with this. This is not going to be a drag build. It's not going to be anything else. I am going to take it to the drag strip because, I mean, that's fun. But this is going to be a track weapon. And I'm going to share with you guys everything I'm going to do with it, stage by stage, mod by mod, and tell you why. And hopefully kind of turn and mold this thing into the perfect track car for my driving style. A couple of things I'm thinking about doing on the car already. It already has the C6 wheels on it. However, I'm really looking to do a squared setup for the track, probably 18 by 10.5, so I could fit 295 tires square all the way around it. And the reason for that being, if I get a spare as well, going to the track, I can evenly wear them, and then I can evenly rotate them. And if I have a flat or an issue like that, I can always have a spare, and I can swap out to any wheel. If you have staggered and or different size wheels like the Corvettes normally come, because right now these are 19s in the back, 18s in the front, you can't really do that. So by doing that, that'll allow me to make the tires that I get last a lot longer. Now the tires are going to be more expensive than the tires on the M235 because they're going to be a lot bigger, but this car weighs about 200 pounds less than the M235 does, and it's got significantly wider tires. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be able to handle a lot better than my M235 did. Most of the LS1s are the same, but they're not all created equal. The later model Corvettes like this one actually had an LS6 intake, so the 2003 model had more horsepower than the original one did. Now this already has an aftermarket intake on it, which I'm very happy about. But we're going to do some things on the car that are going to make it safer and more reliable on the track. Definitely going to get a catch can, and I'm definitely going to get different brake lines to make sure that everything's covered with us there. And I'm going to share with you guys all that as well. this point, I kind of know what you guys are thinking. Why would I get rid of such a great car like an M235 for something that's really old like a Corvette C5? And if you've looked at my previous videos, you've seen that I've compared the M235 to a bunch of different things, an M2 and a Coyote Mustang. But I want to go over why some of the reasons I didn't get another car of similar caliber and cost. A couple of the other cars that I were considering and trading the M235 in for of similar or better caliber would be obviously an M2 like we looked at in a previous video. I'll put a link in the description below and up top for it. I also was looking at the Shelby GT350, and really in my honest opinion, the best bang for the buck that you can get for 30 grand for a track, all-purpose track, drag, everything car is, well, between $30,000 and $40,000. Is a C6 Z06. There really isn't much else out there that handles as good as it does and it has the power that it does. But after looking at all those cars, and as much as I would want to get one, I really want to drive, and I mean drive a lot. And if I don't have a car payment, I can do a lot more track days. It makes it a lot easier on the checkbook. Track insurance isn't nearly as big of a deal as it was with an M235 or a $40,000 or $50,000 track weapon. So this really enables me to do a lot more for a lot less. Let's just look at the straight up comparison between the two. Right out of the box, I already know what the M235 makes as far as horsepower. I made 387 horsepower to the wheels on an E30 mix, which is what I drive at the track with. I ran a 12.7 second quarter mile at 113 miles an hour, and on the highway I seem to keep up with cars that are around 115 mile per hour cars. So that's where we know where it sits as far as acceleration goes. The Corvette has 350 horsepower, 375 pound-feet of torque. It's probably closer to 320 at the wheel. Out of the box, they do a 13.3 is what Car and Driver had it at like 109 miles an hour. So it's not as fast as the M235. However, it weighs a lot less. It's probably closer to 300 pounds less than the M235. And the fact, and I talked about this in a previous video, the M235 doesn't come with a limited slip differential. I'm gonna say this again for the car manufacturers in the back. If you are making a sports car, do not make it without a limited slip differential. And I really started to notice that at the track, coming out of turns, one wheel peeling. It's an immediate improvement with the C5 Corvette. Has a limited slip differential. It might have a leaf spring in the back, but it is still independent rear suspension, both front and back, and the car weighs a lot less. Although the Corvette doesn't make as much horsepower, it doesn't take as much to make as much horsepower as the M235, and because it weighs less, I don't need to make as much. But the big qualm that I had with the M235 was the fenders. I had some problems with it, and I really wasn't able to put big, fat, wide-ass tires on the back. Big old, big ones. With the Corvette, I really can, depending on price and budget, I could fit a 315 square setup around this thing. However, I'm looking at something that's going to be affordable to beat the crap out of tires. So probably a 275 square setup on 18-inch wheels is what I'm looking at. Personally, I think I'm done with the R888s. They were great in the car, but after a few laps, they get really greasy, and they started to, my lap times would be great for like 2 hot laps, be awesome, and then it would suck. So I'm thinking of changing to RE71Rs or Federal 599 or 595 RSRs, or even, I really love my Nitto NT05s that I had. I did a track day on those in the wet, and they were great in the rain. And I've had other people tell me they had good success with them in the dry as well. There's not as many tire choices when you're talking about going to 75 or wider, 285, 295, so I kind of have to pick between a few. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, what kind of tire I should pick for that. As far as upgrades go on the M235, I really wanted to make it a more track-focused, track-oriented car. Suspension, to get the right suspension on that thing, was going to cost me $5,000. The limited slip differential was going to cost $3,000. And a bunch of other parts and stuff is going to be around $9,000, and that's what I got the Corvette for. So parts on the Corvette are extremely cheap. There's tons of different options to go from. I don't need a lot to really make it a great track car, and I hope you guys follow me on that journey. Make sure you guys subscribe, because I'm going to be doing videos on this Corvette. I'm still going to be doing videos on the M235. I still have it at least until I sell it. I have an E36 Turbo LS swap to BMW that I'm still working on, and if you guys follow the channel, I'm still going to be pumping out videos on that. Can't wait to take that to the drag strip next year. Got a 1970 Camaro Super Sport that we're doing an LS swap resto mod to it, and a 1953 Ford F100 pickup truck that we're in the middle of restoring as well. So make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date on all these great videos. I know one of these questions are going to be, Ken, you just made a video of the top 10 best track cars and then you bought one of them, but you didn't buy number 1. Why didn't you buy a Miata? I'll be honest with you. I love the Miata, and while I do think it is the number 1 track car you can get for less than $10,000, it just doesn't really fit me well. I've driven them, they're fantastic, but I've always loved Corvettes, and I love LS engines. I know how to work on them. I've had them now with the E36 LS Swap BMW, so I'm very familiar with them, and I have extra parts for them. So it just really made sense to stick with that specific platform, and the Corvette is the best handling platform for an LS engine, so it just really made the best sense for me. But I still do think the Miata is the number 1 best track car for under $10,000. So to sum it up, the Corvette is lighter. It's going to be less expensive to upgrade the suspension. It has a limited slip differential. It makes similar horsepower to the M235, and I could fit big wide tires on there that are really going to help me at the track for a lot less than what I had, a lot less than what the M235 is currently costing me. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think, if you think I should have got another BMW, or if you think I shouldn't have got a Corvette at all, or if you think the Corvette was a great idea and you're just as excited as I am to track this thing in the spring. So make sure you guys give a comment, and make sure you guys subscribe. And you know, I hope to keep making these videos for you, and I hope you guys keep enjoying them. So I'll catch you in the next one.